Hey guys, you want a story? I'll give you a story on Ninja Story. Welcome back to the Ninja Story, and if you're a female, then I'm sorry that I called you a guy. Welcome to my channel. So this is going to be our first video game review on the channel. I recently played the very niche slash popular game, Life is Strange. I played Life is Strange, and I played the prequel, Life is Strange Before the Storm. This video is gonna be strictly based on the first Life is Strange. I'm gonna play two. I am going to play two. Maybe next weekend, because I'm not allowed to play on weekdays, so probably next weekend. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really that interested in two, but I do want to play it to continue the story. So we're gonna play two, but I decided to play one. So this game came out in 2015, I believe. It was made by Don't Nod Entertainment and Square Enix. Don't Nod's last game was Remember Me, which I haven't played, but it's gotten mixed reviews. Square Enix, big company. They make the Final Fantasy games. They've made a few Mario games. They made the Tomb Raider games. They're a big company. So they decided to pair up or collaborate with Don't Nod for this game, which is maybe, I'm gonna say this, maybe one of my favorite games I've ever played. It is such a fun game to play. It's emotional, it's heartbreaking, it's psychologically horrific at points. I enjoyed almost everything about this game, but there are a couple of flaws. So, in case you have never heard of this game, this is a game that's kind of similar to Telltale games, which is it's like a story-based game where you kind of pick what you want to say. It's like a long, drawn-out story. It's an episodic game. There's 5 episodes. You have to buy each one, or you can just buy the full game and just play it like that. The first episode is free for all consoles. So if you have a console that can play Life is Strange, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, pretty much any console, the first episode is free. And then if you like it, you can buy the rest of them. So this game revolves around Max Caulfield, a young girl in a high school or middle school, I can't remember, who reveals that, or discovers that she has the ability to reverse time. And then when she meets up with an old friend of hers named Chloe Price, they go off on adventures and try to stop an amazing storm that is going to happen on that Friday or Saturday, I believe. That's going to end the world. This was one of my most favorite games. So I've heard a lot about this game before I played it. One of my favorite YouTubers, Foot of a Ferret, this is his favorite game. So I kind of had my expectations pretty high. This game did not disappoint. There are a couple of flaws, but overall, this was a highly enjoyable game to play. I'm going to go through some of the positives first. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I don't have a script, so I'm just mainly going from the top of my head, so we'll see how this goes. Now, the best thing about this game, in my opinion, is the character development and the characterization of every single character in this game. Every character is fleshed out amazingly. You care about every single character in this game, even the villains, the heroes, the side characters that feel like they shouldn't really matter, the people that you come to hate, but then you come to love. Almost every single character in this game is fleshed out perfectly. You care about every single person in this game. It is one of the best games I've ever played in terms of characterization and how much you care about each character in the game. There is some fantastic voice work in this game. There is some emotion. You feel the emotion. I didn't tear up, but I came very, very close at times. This is a very emotional game near the last 2 episodes. The last 2 episodes are heart-wrenching at points. It is so, so sad. but so enjoyable at the same time. And that's kind of the spark of this game. It can get very dark, it can get very emotional, it can get very heartwarming, it can get very, like, depressing, but at the end of the day, it's still an amazing game to play with. And the reason why is because of that choose your path storyline that they decide to go with, or the gameplay that they decide to go with. Now, I tried playing the Telltale games. I didn't play the Walking Dead series yet because I'm not a huge fan of Walking Dead, but I did play the Batman series. And I'm not entirely sure, but I think I played the first Game of Thrones one, maybe like the first episode, but I don't entirely remember. But I played the Batman Telltale series. The first Batman Telltale game is actually not that bad. I really thought I wouldn't like it, but it's actually not that bad. The reason why I'm not a big... The thing is, with the Telltale games, at least for Batman, there's not a lot to interact with. You mainly just walk around in a very diluted place and like very claustrophobic area and just walk around and just press A over and over and you really can't do anything. And the second reason, which is the reason why I love Life is Strange, is because in the Telltale games, you have a time limit for your choices. In Life is Strange, there is no time limit. You can take as long as you want to make your decision or choose the dialogue that you want to say. You can, even if you feel like you made the wrong choice, you can go back in time and reverse your decisions, which is a great mechanic and works perfectly in the game. It's so perfectly done that it just becomes like second nature. It's such a good mechanic. And which is another good thing, is that this game actually feels like a world. This game actually feels big, expansive. You feel like there's more to see. This is a very interactive game, surprisingly, for this kind of game. It's not really open world, but it feels like open world. You can't, like, if you're in an area, you can't like walk out of that area and glitch out and all that kind of stuff. Probably there is glitches, but I don't know. But still, you can interact with so much in that one area that it feels not like a Breath of the Wild, but like not like an Odyssey, but like honestly, it feels like one of those games. Like, honestly, it feels like one of those games, even though you're not allowed to leave the area that you are supposed to be in. Um, and the last positives that I'm going to say is the two main characters, Max Caulfield and Chloe Price. They are both so good. There are a couple of times where their dialogue is a little weird, especially in the beginning. In episode 1, the dialogue is very cheesy, especially like near the beginning of episode 1, like the first half of episode 1. Because you just have to get used to it. But throughout the game, you learn more about their characters. You see their past at some points. Um, they even go into the futures at some points, since Max has the ability to reverse time. You can go through different scenarios, or what would happen if you did something different in the past. And it's really, they've fleshed out the characters the most, and when the final decision comes, which I'm not going to spoil, it's a very difficult decision to make. It's heartbreaking, whichever one you decide to do, and it was just a really, really good world that they built. Like, I give Don't Nod a lot of respect. They really fleshed out as much as they could. Now I'm gonna go on to some tiny nitpicks slash negatives of this game. There are very few things that I think are wrong with this game, but it is not a perfect game. We already talked about the dialogue in a few of the episodes, or a few of the moments. There's a very very insane, I'll say. Very, very insane sequence, I'll say, in the last episode, which kind of feels out of place, but at the same time it makes sense, but it felt written in very weirdly, because they didn't really try to explain it. They just said, oh, am I in a, whatever they said, I think I'm in this, what's going on, and it's hard to follow, I guess we'll say. And some of the stuff in that sequence, especially with a certain scene that happens with Chloe and Max sitting down, and Chloe's like interacting with a bunch of people. One of them just doesn't make sense in the slightest, because these two characters I don't think ever met in the game, and they're still interacting, which was super strange. And they honestly, and this is another thing that happens in that sequence, they honestly rip off Metal Gear Solid at one point, which I haven't played the game, but I still know it's crazy. It's really crazy. But it was fun still. And the last negative that I'm going to say for this game, which is just my opinion, it didn't feel like there was a true villain. Like, they really didn't know who the villain for this game would be, because you think it's one person and then they leave. You think it's another person and they leave. You think it's another person and they leave. Then you think it's a certain character that you believed, but he's actually doing good. But then you realize that he's doing bad. Like, they couldn't really find a way to write their villains in the best way. Also, the motivation behind the main villain in the game is kind of weird. But overall, this is a fantastic game. I loved this game. I highly recommend it, and I'm going to give it an A. So that was my review of Life is Strange. What do you guys think of Life is Strange if you played it before? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, the story is always right. Adios.